So there can be a lot of variables here, but basically from about 37 to 38 weeks if baby is transverse, your doctor or midwife will likely recommend that you're admitted to the hospital and to remain as an inpatient for a period of time. And the reason for this is to avoid your waters going and the potential of a cord prolapse while you're still out in the community or in your home. Now, what happens once you're an inpatient can vary massively. The ultimate aim, I suppose, is to get a period of time where baby is head down or even breech, and they remain in that position for a 24-hour period. Now, when that happens is obviously going to vary massively, and this can sometimes mean a really long inpatient stay if you're happy to stay. So we'll say, for example, we'll go down one side of this, baby becomes head down for a 24-hour period, you'll be offered to go home. In some cases, you may be offered an induction when this happens, and the rationale behind that, I suppose, is this is a baby that's obviously moving a lot, and now you've gotten them head down. It's kind of like striking while the iron is hot and proceeding with an induction while they're head down, rather than giving them time to come out of that head down position again. It may be also that they become breech and you're offered home with follow-up, whether that be an ECV, a cesarean, or, now this is rarely offered, but a vaginal breech birth. Last then, I suppose, is unfortunately this baby never comes out of a transverse position. And you progress past 40 weeks, and I suppose then a discussion would be had of whether you want to wait for longer to see if this baby will come into a head down position or even breech, or at this stage would you like to proceed with a planned cesarean section. And the reason for this is a baby who's transverse, and for anyone who doesn't know, a transverse means the baby's lying sideways, cannot be born vaginally. And the only way for these babies to be born while transverse is by cesarean. And then the final scenario would be if you're admitted while baby's transverse and you start to get pains or your waters go, then an unplanned cesarean would be done. The second then, so the chance of a postpartum hemorrhage is higher when a woman is giving birth to twins. The reason for this is if you think of the womb muscle like an elastic band, after it has grown two babies, that elastic band or that womb muscle is stretched a lot more and may be slower or less efficient at returning to its pre-stretched stage. And contracting or returning to that pre-stretched stage is necessary to stop the blood flow from the womb. And so if you think about it with twins, it's been stretched more, so it may be slower to come back down and contract down, and therefore not contract down on the blood vessels that may give rise to a postpartum hemorrhage. The second risk with giving birth to twins vaginally that is significant. The second then is to do with the second twin or twin two. So if you think about it, when there's two babies in the womb, one is the twin that is coming first, or it's a presenting twin, and they're the twin that move into the pelvis and are delivered first vaginally. The second twin is elsewhere and higher up in the womb, and they have never, they've never been in the pelvis, they've never been near the cervix before. So in the first instance, they have to make their way down to the cervix and pelvis to come out vaginally, which can take some time. But also secondly, they've been sharing this womb with another baby, and once that baby's born, they now have a lot of space to move. And sometimes what can happen is A, they don't move down to the pelvis, or B, instead of coming head down or even bum down, they have so much space, they move and they flip. And so they can become transverse, which I just said on a previous story, a transverse baby cannot be born vaginally. And so this can make things a little bit complicated sometimes, and this would almost always be only if you had an epidural. The doctor may be able to put their hand into your vagina, into your womb, and turn the baby around to come breech. But sometimes this is impossible, or sometimes the baby doesn't tolerate it and their heart rate may drop, and so a cesarean section for the second twin after the vaginal birth of the first twin may be necessary. And we quote that this happens in about 4% of twin vaginal births, which equates to about 1 in 20 women.